Imagine waking up tomorrow and finding out you have just 30 days to leave the country you've called home for years. Sounds impossible, right? Well, according to new government data released this month, over 2 million people in the UK could soon face that exact nightmare. The UK's new immigration rules for 2025 have shocked legal experts, human rights groups, and families across the country. Stricter salary requirements, higher visa fees, and tighter deportation powers are just the beginning. And the scariest part, many of these changes are already being quietly rolled out, catching thousands off guard. Could someone you know be forced to leave? Are students, workers, and even permanent residents now at risk? What hidden rule could change a person's status without any warning? Today's script breaks down the 10 biggest changes and how they could shatter lives. Stay with this high-energy, satirical, and entertaining journey, knowing these details could be the difference between staying safe and facing unexpected deportation. A seismic shift has arrived in the skilled worker visa landscape. The minimum salary threshold has rocketed from £26,200 sterling 0 pence to £38 sterling 70 pence per year. That jump is no small leap. It is a cliff over which countless careers and families could tumble. Care assistants, who once felt secure in their roles, now glance nervously at their payslips. Tech startups buzzing with junior developers must weigh whether to boost salaries or watch talent walk out the door. Suddenly, employers face a race against time to raise salaries or risk losing entire teams. For many, one pitiful shortfall of just a few £100s will slam the door shut on their right to remain. Permanent residents, who assumed their past years of lawful work offered some safety net, now discover there is no hiding from this new bar. Renewal applications will demand proof of meeting the new salary hurdle, even if a person has lived and worked legally for a decade. A missed promotion or a frozen wage packet could trigger instant denial. Imagine a seasoned nurse who has tended patients through crises now being told they are no longer worth the cost. The system's cold logic offers no exceptions. Meet the figure or make plans to leave. International graduates face an equally cruel twist. The post-study work visa, once a 2-year landing pad, is being yanked away. Come September 2025, the famous graduate route ends. Dreamers who invested years and fortunes into British degrees will have only 60 days to lock down skilled work sponsorship or pack their bags. 2 months to navigate job markets, secure an employer sponsorship, and file complex paperwork. A single delay could spell the end of a once bright future on these shores. Universities everywhere brace for an exodus of talent that might have stayed and contributed. Family reunification, long a path to healing distant bonds, now resembles an obstacle course. Sponsors must meet the lofty £38,700 sterling 0 pence income requirement and prove stable support for at least 5 straight years. The Home Office will delve into employment histories with a fine-toothed comb, scrutinizing contract lengths, income spikes, and job changes. Once trusted evidence, photographs, chat logs, flight itineraries, will count for little if not part of a meticulously documented dossier. Parents, spouses, and adult children face the risk that a single missing payslip or a gap in one's bank statements could split families forever. And don't forget the ever-rising ticket prices to play this game. Application fees will climb by up to 35% from July 2025. A skilled worker visa that once cost about £625 sterling 0 pence will now approach £820 sterling 0 pence. And every dependent tag-along adds nearly the same figure. Biometric bookings, priority handling, translation services, they all come with inflated price tags. One family of 4 could easily shell out more than £10 sterling 0 pence just to submit their paperwork. The Home Office's goal is a self-funding system, but the real effect will be to price out many from even trying. Language proficiency tests morph into a new gatekeeper. Once confined to a handful of visa types, mandatory English exams now spread across most major routes. The bar rises to advanced levels in reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Those who chat fluently in kitchens or the pub may flunk formal tests under strict new rules. Every retake carries another £150 sterling 0 pence, £300 sterling 0 pence hit to the wallet, not to mention prep course costs. For migrants balancing rent, family, and daily life, this new hurdle could feel insurmountable. another silent wall dividing communities. The shortage occupation list, a lifeline for many sectors, is under the scalpel. By August 2025, it will be slashed by half. Care aides, junior health staff, hospitality workers, and entry-level tech support roles vanish or get reclassified. Suddenly, entire industries lose access to overseas talent at subsidized rates. Employers may struggle to fill urgent posts, deepening labor shortages that already strain hospitals, restaurants, and construction sites. Migrant workers, watching their pathways close, may scramble for alternatives or face deportation if they lack new sponsors. Deportation powers harden to an unprecedented degree. Minor offenses that once merited warnings now risk triggering full removal orders. Accumulating small fines or even being suspected of breaching visa terms could plunge someone into detention for up to 60 days without a court hearing. Appeals, bail options, and grace periods are being chipped away. Individuals who miss a single notice letter or misunderstand a technical requirement might wake up in a holding center, their lives unraveling while officials decide their fate. The new public interest framework prioritizes security and economics over humanitarian pleas. Renewal processes, once a routine milestone, have become a minefield. Applicants must show unbroken employment, comprehensive financial records covering every month of their stay, updated language certificates, and fresh background checks. Deadlines tighten. Submissions now due 60 days before expiry, with no mercy for lateness. One lost payslip, a clerical error on a bank statement, or a single missed medical exam could turn renewal efforts into sudden deportation orders. Students face brutal attendance audits, and short-term visa holders watch their limited extension chances dwindle. As asylum seekers confront the toughest squeeze yet, claim windows shrink from 6 months to 30 days. Applications deemed clearly unfounded face fast-track rejections in just 10 working days. Mandatory detention applies to those entering by unofficial routes until initial screenings conclude. Access to legal aid all but vanishes unless deemed exceptional. Work rights for claimants disappear entirely. Families seeking safety through reunification now find only spouses and minor children eligible, and the financial maintenance threshold remains unforgiving. The system, once designed to protect the vulnerable, now seems built to deter them en masse. Even health contributions become a major burden. The immigration health surcharge doubles down in 2026. £1,500 sterling, 0 pence per adult, £1 sterling, 20 pence per child, per year. A family renewing a 3-year visa could face a £16 sterling, 0 pence, upfront bill just for NHS access. Migrants already pay taxes and national insurance. This feels like a double tax. No exemptions exist for key workers or low-impact families. Miss the deadline and the visa application is void. The surcharge morphs from a token contribution into a crushing levy that few can absorb without sacrificing essentials. Throughout each of these transformations, one thought hovers. These are not abstract policies on a government website. They translate into midnight panic calls, broken dreams, shattered celebrations, and endless bureaucratic limbo. Skilled workers weigh whether to leave behind homes they bought, families they raised, and communities they built. Graduates wonder if their hard-earned degrees are now worthless. Loved ones face the terror of permanent separation over a single missing document. All of this unfolds under a veneer of fairness and self-sufficiency, while the real stories play out in cramped waiting rooms and tearful goodbyes. Satire might be the only way to digest the absurdity of rules that turn people into numbers on a spreadsheet. It's a comedy of errors where the punchline is exile. Picture an official proudly announcing integration, while tens of thousands scramble to pass yet another exam or scrape together thousands of pounds for fees. Imagine a world where a chef's artistry in the kitchen counts for nothing against a letter from a testing center. It is a dark satire, but the laughter tastes bitter when lives hang in the balance. Still, amid the chaos, some resilience shines through. Community advocates stitch together document bundles, charities offer free legal clinics, and employers scramble to sponsor critical staff. Digital platforms bloom with advice threads on meeting employer sponsorship deadlines. Families crowd into local libraries, practicing mock English tests as if their futures depend on every verb tense. Mutual aid groups form support networks for those about to lose their right to remain. In these pockets of solidarity, The spirit of togetherness fights back against a system bent on atomizing lives. Yet the question persists: when policies demand more than any normal person can supply, are they designed to succeed or to squeeze out an entire population? Is it possible that the real aim is deterrence, forcing people to self-deport rather than face endless red tape? If hurdles rise faster than a single person can clear them, then the system becomes a trap rather than an avenue. Those left holding the bag find themselves in a Kafkaesque loop of fees, exams, and deadlines that only the wealthiest or most fortunate can hope to navigate. For those watching from afar, this unfolding drama may appear sensational, but for millions already in the UK, these changes are no distant headline. They represent the slow erosion of hope, the shifting sands beneath one's home. They make everyday acts, working, studying, loving, raising a child, into potential minefields. Every signature on a form, every bank statement, every exam result suddenly holds existential weight. It is a test not of character, but of an individual's wallet, their ability to jump through hoops, and often their sheer luck. So what can a person do when faced with such an onslaught? First, awareness is vital. Understanding each new rule, each tightened screw, offers some chance to prepare. Second, proactive measures. Engaging immigration solicitors, seeking employer support, gathering documents, become a matter of survival rather than choice. Third, building solidarity networks. Sharing knowledge and lending moral support can ease the crushing isolation these rules aim to inflict. Even satire, as sharp as it must be, can shed light on absurdity and galvanize collective action. In the face of these upheavals, hope must not be lost. Campaigners press for judicial reviews, human rights groups mount legal challenges, and MPs on all sides voice concern. Public pressure, media scrutiny, and international attention can force slight reversals, or at least slow the pace of change. But these efforts take time, precious time for those on fixed deadlines. Mobilizing resources, rallying voices, and sustaining momentum become crucial in pushing back against rules that threaten to sweep millions away. As the countdown to each new rule begins, one thing is clear. Life under these regulations will demand vigilance, resilience, and solidarity. It will require navigating an ever-shifting maze of numbers, forms, and fees. Mistakes may mean exile, missed deadlines, end of a dream. Yet amid satire and outrage, the human spirit persists. Immigrants who have already overcome so much draw on reserves of courage to keep fighting, keep hoping, and keep building lives against the odds. Which rule lands the hardest blow? Is it the salary cliff, the vanished post-study bridge, the crushing fees, or the exam gauntlet? Each cut deep, each twist more painful than the last. Yet together, they form a gauntlet designed to reshape the face of modern Britain. The nation that once touted opportunity for all risks becoming a fortress that shuts out the very talent, compassion, and diversity that built it. In this theatre of policy, everyone holds a ticket, one that could be revoked at a moment's notice. Still, the script is not yet final. Public opinion, legal interventions, and political shifts may rewrite parts of this saga. Grassroots mobilization can slow the wheels of change and force policymakers to reckon with human costs. Court challenges can peel back the most draconian measures. Voices in parliaments, town halls, and council chambers can insist on fairer paths. It is a long shot, but history shows that collective action can bend even the sternest arcs of policy. Until then, those affected must prepare, adapt, and stand together. They can share tips on meeting tighter deadlines, pool resources for expensive tests, and lobby employers for sponsorship support. They can leverage social media to spotlight individual stories, reminding the world of the faces behind the forms. They can demand transparency, challenge unjust rejections, and build coalitions with sympathetic unions, charities, and advocacy groups. Ultimately, this satirical nightmare underscores a profound truth. Rules without humanity crush the spirit of communities. When policies ignore lives and instead focus only on spreadsheets, they create chaos, fear, and heartbreak. The UK's new immigration regime threatens to unravel families, drain industries, and fracture society. But satire, solidarity, and struggle can shine a light on absurdity and prompt change. So, as this dramatic narrative unfolds, one final thought remains. What will history say of this moment? Will it record a turning point when Britain built walls so high that hope could not scale them? Or will it note the rise of a new movement that reclaimed empathy, fairness, and the right to belong? The answer depends on every person reading these words, whether they stand by silently or raise their voices in defense of fellow human beings. If this breakdown has fired up outrage, action, or solidarity, then sign up for more hard-hitting updates. Hit like to show support, subscribe to stay in the loop, and drop a comment to share your story or your take. In numbers and voices there is power, and together, it might just be enough to rewrite the rules.